What's up, mob? Hey, so this is an interesting one today. First off, I want to thank all of you guys for supporting my sponsors, and man, the Cooksey Mob comes strong. I really appreciate it. We got Coach Rob at Complete Racing Solutions, who's taking applications right now for his elite team. We got Epic Garage Designs with all this cool stuff. We've got Strapped with the patriotic goggles, just in the glasses. Strapped is awesome. And we got Precision Transport. Precision Transport, trucking company. If you've had to deal with trucking companies, sometimes it's not fun. So check out Precision Transport. But today, I'm going to talk about the amateur system. This is something that it kind of gets overlooked when you see Loretta Lynn's. You see this gigantic race, and it's like, it's kind of the granddaddy of them all. It's the big amateur national, but how do you actually get there? I'm going to break it down for you.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
All right, guys, so I got a message from Daniel Borge. His son races amateur racing. They're from Sweden, and he's just disgusted with the whole process. He did a regional qualifier at Baja Acres, and he went into a whole bunch of stuff about how apparently they qualify 72 people from the area qualifiers to race at a regional. But I don't see how that works because there's only 40 gates, but then they run qualifiers, but then they run so many classes that they have to cut laps. It's crazy, yeah. So you pay all that money, you take all that, but then they'll let you ride all the different regionals. That doesn't make sense. Why would you have a regional? It's a really screwy system aimed at getting as much money out of the amateur racers as possible. And that's the way it looks to me. There's no need for area qualifiers if they're going to let almost anyone go in there, and they're going to have 72 guys qualified and let them race. And then according to the AMA rule book, you're supposed to get 15-minute races. So you're qualifying for the biggest amateur national on the planet. And apparently at Baja Acres, according to Daniel, they cut it down to 5 laps, and it was brutal. And when he went to talk about it, he was really shut down. And yes, he probably didn't handle it the way, in a very civil manner. He did say he called one of the ladies a bitch. He was calling them Democrats, which I'm sorry, that just made me laugh because that is kind of how that system works over there at MX Sports and Racer X. And I explained to him how the AMA is like, but the AMA, aren't they independent? Aren't they the governing body? I said, well, not really. In reality, MX Sports, which is the company who leases the rights to the races, is part of AMA Pro Racing, AMA Pro Racing. They're all in bed together. AMA Pro Racing, MX Sports, and Racer X, they all have financial ties and depend on each other. There's no independent organization overseeing these events. So what they're trying to do is get as many people in and build up this race to be, and it's a cool race. If you guys watched it all last week, it was awesome. It is, and that's really the only way to get the factories to notice you. There's other events like the, Supercross Futures, there's Combine, there's all these things. But if you don't participate in Loretta Lynn's, the chances of getting an invite to those is next to nothing. It's really, really hard to get on the map unless you go through this system that just squeezes every drop out of these poor families. And they wonder why the sport, listen, there's a lot of racers racing. It's an awesome sport. But that doesn't make it okay to squeeze every damn dime out of them. That doesn't make it okay to treat them right or disrespect them. So if I go to a race like this, and there's some sort of extenuating circumstances, and they have to cut motos. Like, I don't have a problem with what they did at Loretta Lynn's. They had to cut motos. It is what it is. Weather's weather. But when you schedule an event like they did at Baja Acres, where there's too many motos to actually give you 15 minutes, and they cut laps for no other reason than there's too many classes, that's just poor planning. I feel like at that point, if you're going to cut laps like any other product on the world, if you're going to cut my laps, I should definitely get like a refund. And then now you're going to try and tell me this is the biggest race on the planet, and you're going to qualify me after 5 laps? You're not going to get the best riders. You need to do, if the rule book says 15 minutes, which we all know about the AMA rule book, which is a guideline book, why even have it if you're going to just make stuff up on the spot and milk these parents and these families for so much money. So anyway, I did a full interview with Daniel. It's quite long. If you want to watch it, I'm going to put it at the end of this little video here. But I told him, hey, I heard his story, and I was like, you know what? Let me just get it right from you, and I'll just post it. You know, it's a Zoom call. Zoom calls go one of two ways, guys. They're either really good and somebody's done it before and they know how to do it, or they haven't, and they're holding the phone. It's going all over the place. It was kind of one of those interviews, but he had some really good points, and I wanted to make sure that we got his story out there. And you know, he's bummed. He feels like there's poor planning. He doesn't feel like anyone heard him at the event. Every time he talked to him, he felt like they talked down to him. He felt like they shortchanged him, and in the end, he got suspended for calling someone a bitch, which they suspended his son. And it's a bummer deal, and they're pretty sour about it. So anyway, guys, here's the interview, and yeah, like I said, this is my platform, and I want to get the stories out there and break down how this whole machine works, this whole the racing, and you know, it's all together. And now with MX Sports working with Feld, they used to be independent organizations, and now they're working together, and so they're actually, it's almost like they're working together to milk more out of the sport. But anyway, enough bitching. Here's the Zoom call interview with Mr. Daniel Borge. All right, Cooksy Mob. So I'm doing something a little bit different today. I had this gentleman, Daniel Borge, reach out to me, and I'm all about supporting amateurs, growing the sport, but he has some reasons why he thinks and his experiences didn't go so well. But Daniel, what's happening?
Hi, Cooksy. It happening. We went to, my son rides, obviously, I'm amateur MX here in the US. I'm originally from Europe, but I've been here for over 30 years. So we're doing this since he's 4 years old. So I'm obviously kind of been there, done that. So this year was kind of different when we went to Loretta Lynn's qualifier, Loretta Lynn's regionals, everything kind of getting my nerves, so to speak, because what happening is I started with the qualifier. All of a sudden, you have to pay more for the regional or for the form for MX Sport. The last almost 8-9 years was always $10, and now they went $5 more. No big deal. I thought it's just something to irritate the people, I guess. So that's what happening there. I was pay a little bit more. I said, okay, no big deal. Everything goes up. They need to make the money too, which I know they do. They're not on the or on the bottom end on the line there to receive the money.
What does it cost to enter the regional?
To enter a regional cost us in plain and simple, like about $800
to enter a regional.
Well, just to enter is $400, but with depends where you need to go. Yeah, it's about cost you with the bike. I mean, I'm adding like the hotel, the weekend fees, all that stuff. You know.
What is MX Sports? What do they charge you?
MX Sports for regional, you have to, first of all, you have to sign up with them first, which that means you qualified. Then you have to go to the regional. You have to go online, sign your name, sign you up. That you can do 2 races. I mean, 2 classes maximum. It's 4. So you have 4 or 6 races that cost you per race. You pay $70. It depends between 70. I think the smaller bikes a bigger bike a little bit more. So it's about, for 2 races you pay like about $240, something like that, just for the race.
And then you went to Baja Acres this year, and it didn't go so well. Tell me what happened to Baja Acres.
So we went up there, which is about 1,000 miles from me. Went there. We've been there a number of times before for the amateur national race, however we want to call that. A couple last years before. Went there, never had issues there. I mean, it's a good track. Good people. We had like last time I went there, I think, what's his name, 69,
Ronnie Mac.
Mac was there, Ronnie, big crowd. The only difference or problems we had last time, we were lucky. I mean, I rode almost 900 miles. Buddy of mine called me, "Hey, you can't get in there anymore." I said, "What do you mean I can't get in?" Because of what happened then was they had pit bike races, so all the locals there took your spots, so you had no parking anymore. So they basically throw people away. Came from like Texas. I know people from Texas, Alabama. They drove all the way up there, and they told me they had to leave because and the local people rode or raced at the pit bike race. So, but in the meantime, a friend of mine called me. He already had signed up, so he signed us up. Otherwise, he would have drove all the way up there. So I had a little bit bad taste from that.
So
this year,
so you were turned. They were turning people away.
Yeah, racing kids driving 1,000 miles, and then they had this pit bike crap.
And they were turning them away in favor of local stuff, local pit bike racing.
Yes.
Wow.
That was
okay.
I couldn't understand. It was really, really bothersome to me that you do that to people who, I mean, they know people were coming. And they really, people couldn't get in anymore. It was full. You know what I'm saying? Those parking, they didn't have enough parking, they didn't anticipate it. I mean, they had, but it was not right what they did, in my opinion, So I had a little bad taste from that. So this year, go up there again, like I said, get there like at 5 o'clock in the morning, drove all night, worked the day before. My son went to school the day before, of course, like normal, and he rides a Club MX as well. So got there, 5 o'clock, Badoo comes there. I mean, you race. So you go before, you wait in the front of the gate. I mean, sometimes there are like a couple of other people there. So I wait there, and all of a sudden, like at 5:30 in the morning, that dude comes to me and say, "What are you doing here?" I looked at him. "What do you think? I mean, I'm waiting to get in, Then he said, "You can park. You cannot park here." I said, "What do you mean I can't park here?" "Yeah, there were like 20 other people here before." Then he said, "Where are they at?" "Well, they're not here." Then I said, "Well, I guess usually it goes first come, first serve. I mean, as far as I know." So we had back and forth. So I left too. Then I talked to other people further down the road. They said, "Yeah, they were there yesterday. They did the same. He did the same to them." So, I mean, like at 7 o'clock, 7:30, I went back over there. No problem. I mean, got in. So then the first thing again, when I got in, they charge you 60, I think $80 per person. Me and my son cost 160 to get in. And now the new thing again is only in Baja. You pay like you would go, I don't know how to explain this, but you have to pay if you could go online and buy a camping spot, like an RV spot.
Yeah.
For the whole weekend. Then you pay, I think it was $150. So I said, and when I looked at it, I don't have an RV. We just have our van, Sprinter van. We got a hotel. That's all. That's what we do the last almost 10 years now. So we did that. And then this lady tells me, yeah, you pay, I think $30 just to get the wild camping or whatever they call it. So then they told me, okay, now $30, and then you have to pay per day when you come in and out. I said, what do you mean I come in? I go every day. I mean, other races. So they explained to me, now you have to pick up all your stuff. You can't leave your canopy or whatever, like in other places, you leave your stuff there and go to the hotel. So there, that's new. That was the first year. So they charge you $30 plus every day $15. So that was new. So you basically have to, every day you come in, you pay a $15 extra because you don't have a camping spot. So that was new. So I get a little bit irritated about that because nobody else does that. I never heard about it, but that's how they make money. So, okay, we do that then as well. So go further. The whole day was great. Good good practice, good trackers, really well, no problem. So we went to, so to speak, at night we went to hotel, go have food, everything is fine. Saturday morning, I signed up again. Then I go again, of course, had to pay $120 per race. So it's 240, or I'm not sure if it's both 120 again on top of that, what I already paid. And then at 8 o'clock, we had the riders meeting. So we went to the riders meeting. So all of a sudden, we talked about the other race. We have 23 classes. I was oh, no problem. Then we said, okay, per race, we get three laps. And then I said, what do you mean 3 laps? I mean, this is a joke. Then they said, no, this is not. And I said to the AMA guy, but don't we have rules here? Then he said, no, sorry, we have 5 laps. And I said, doesn't matter. A lap is like one lap is a minute and 48 or a minute and 50. AMA or MX Sports rules shows 15-minute regional minimum race per class. So then they said, we will talk later. Just come back to the sign up thing. We will explain to you how that works. And I said, no, you don't need to explain this to me. This is wrong. So, but then they wouldn't engage. Said you need to be quiet, basically, because other people started to look at everybody's, look at their face. So, what do you mean we get 5 laps? Driving 1,500 miles, and then we get 5 laps, and that's all we get for a race on a regional, which is really tough to.
That's crazy, because what you described to me, your boys, I'm sure you pay a lot of money to go to Club MX, to train, to build up the endurance, to become a racer. This is supposed to be the premier amateur national in the country. And if the rule states it's a 15-minute moto for a qualifier, that's what you trained for. Right. Did they have a logical reason why they were cutting it to 5?
Oh, yeah. Listen, they cut it to 5 because they have 22 or 23 classes. Per class, the 70 people sign up, right? It's a regional. So, of course, then you have to have contests, right? 3 races, basically, before you even start the race, the next 2 races. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's an easy calculation. 8-hour daylight, 23 classes per race. You have 15 minutes, and so it's an hour roughly just for one class. If you have 20 class, do the math. I mean, it's easy to calculate, Yeah. So that's why. But they don't want to give up the money, because 20 class is a lot of money. It's about $500,000 over the weekend, isn't it? If you start adding all these.
Yeah, let me ask this. So they changed the format, so there's consies because they're taking 70 people,
right?
And they didn't plan for that because
that's the that is like that now. On the old days, 20 years ago, 40, that's fine. You were the qualifier before the regional doesn't really matter these days. It's just to make money. It doesn't separate
they call that that's the area qualifier, right?
Right. They call it area qualifier.
So they take anyone for an area qualifier so they can get as much money as they can, and then they send too many of you guys to the regional and they don't have time. But if they know there's 70 guys signed up, because you had to pre-register, right? Or you're qualified through your area.
They know exactly how many people they get, and then they get on top. You get even more because they take alternates as well. So figure, it's a joke. I mean, why we qualify for regional if you then have to re-qualify again? You see what I'm saying?
Yes. But yes. If you qualified through the area, you should be into the regional. You shouldn't have to do. I was thinking you were talking about the area. When you qualify for the regional, you should be into the gate.
Right. You are if you top 8, then you automatically get a gate. If you're out of the top 8, you get an alternate spot. Everybody can go. See what I'm saying? It's not like a regional or like the old days when you were not top 5, for example. They only took 40 on the regionals old days, which it should be still, you know, a full gate.
I don't understand why they even have areas other than, like you said, it's a cash grab.
That's all it is. Figure. Go.
Yeah, because if it doesn't matter, then yeah. So
No.
I could show up at any regional. Do I if let's say I don't run an area, I can still show up at the regional and come in as an alternate.
No, you have to have
paid the money.
You have to pay the money, and I think you have to go over the starting line and then finish line.
Okay.
You have to be checkered off. But if you heard or whatever, that's what a lot of people do, and then they go to regional. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, you get hurt. I mean, you can go out there and anyone can just roll around and get whatever and then go to the regional.
That's what they do. Or a new kids. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of people asking, I've been doing this for a while, and the people, and I said, yeah, you can try to go, but it doesn't mean, you know, you tell him now he's not ready, you just get rolled over, and then they try it anyhow. Already have 40, you know, you have 8 areas qualifier. The old days, I think 5 riders would be qualifying to the regional. Then you had a 40 rider field, right? Yeah. Now they take 9. So 9 times 8 is 72 riders. See what I'm saying?
Yes, and that doesn't make sense, but
you have to ride, then you have basically semi, you know what I'm saying? A semi race, 2 races, and then the top 15 get into the main races. You see what I'm saying?
Not 40, 15? But it's a 40-man gate, right?
That's how it works. Right. It's a 40-man. You have a 40-man gate.
Okay. That's not counting the guys that
probably
got in the top of
right,
the area.
Right.
So you can qualify
No. Yes, you can.
If I win my area qualifier, I get a gate no matter what into the top.
No matter what, exactly. You get a gate, but not if you don't qualify in the regional again. If someone of these slow ones crashes in front of you or runs into you, and you want to qualify, no, then you don't make it. Then you have to go to the LCQ, and then you maybe don't make it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At the regional, if you have to go to if you out of top 15, it'd be hard to make it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
really hard.
So, but once you hit the regional qualifier, and say I win my area, so I have a gate in my regional. Now I'm doing 2 15-minute motos.
Right.
And they didn't cut those motos. They only cut the consies.
No, they cut every moto. That's why I got mad. Every moto. Otherwise, they wouldn't make 30 classes that day. Oh, 20, 23 class, whatever they had. They couldn't get through the amount of classes.
Yes,
in order to get through, they have to shorten the race in order to make it. And then you, like I just said, then you have these basically goon riders. Now, I'm not saying, I don't want to put them down. We all had to start somewhere, you know. Yeah. But a lot of people riding the regionals, they shouldn't be there. You know what I'm saying? They kind of endangered themselves and others. So that's why you have, basically what you have is 4 races per class, because after you have.
Okay, so I'm still kind of confused.
It's a little bit confusing. So confusing. Yeah, I know.
So if I go, I go to an area qualifier, and I finish 10th, and they take. You're not
8, qualified. Yeah.
Then I don't qualify. Then I can't even sign up at the regional.
No, you can as an alternate. A lot of people do that.
Okay, but if I'm in the top 8, then I go.
Then you have guaranteed gate. Then then you have a guaranteed gate, Chris. Then guaranteed meaning
I just don't understand how with 72 people, how are they doing a race?
Then they have 2 races before the race. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When I'm calling those consies to get to the race, right?
Right. You call these 2 consies. If you're out of the top 15 of that, then you have to go to the LCQ, and then those else, then you have 30 or 16 riders, 32, 8 riders on the LCQ go back into the main events. You see what I'm saying?
And then
That's
the main
how it
events
works.
are still only 5 laps.
Only 5 laps. Yeah, you
Oh
can't
my
make it
God. Okay.
because you have these contests you have to do as well. These LCQs all day.
Yes. Yeah. No, I
You
understand.
understand?
Yeah. So it's silly that they're running this much or doing that much. Now,
Yes.
what do you think, like, as a family to go to a regional, what do you think you spent that weekend? $800, you said?
No, 1,300 roughly.
Roughly 1,300 all in with entry
Roughly about.
fees. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, with traveling, with hotel, food, bike, tires for the bike, parts for the bike. I mean, roughly. So if it's closer to you, wherever you're from, it may be a little bit less, $200-300. If it's further, then yeah, it costs more, $1,500 sometimes. It depends, but that's about roughly what I pay for a weekend like that. And then you get shafted like that by telling you can't. We don't give you 15 minutes, or 15 minutes equivalent at Baja would have been 7 laps, so not 7,
Yeah.
12 laps or something like that. Anyhow,
Yeah.
it would be a
So
lot more than 5.
when they told you to be quiet at riders meeting,
Mhm.
did you ever go back up and talk to him? And if so, how did that go? And who you
Yeah,
spoke with? Burkeen from the AMA?
yeah. Well, that was all afterwards. I explained now. So I went back to the sign-up place and I explained. And the AMA dude was there. I told him, so what are you guys talking about? MX Sports says 15 minutes, but I mean, obviously that's in the rule book, but the rules is, I guess, to change. Then they told me, no, we can't do it. We have too many riders. And I said, I don't really care. The rule book said so many laps. I want so many laps. I'm not try. If you would have told me that before I even come here, I wouldn't have come here. And then, of course, I got upset, and kind of some nasty words were falling there. And then I left. So after that, I was really pissed off. I mean, if he has a bad start, a crash or whatever, basically pack up and go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you're out of, yeah, I mean, they only take top 6 to advance to Loretta. So then my son had his first race. He was, of course, what happens, he had a bad start. He was like 25th, almost last.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, not happy. Then the owner's daughter came in the impound. My son drove from about 24th, 25th, all the way to 5th. So he rode good. He really did well, no question. Then she came there. Then she said, see, that's not a problem. He rode all the way. And I said, that's not the problem. This is a bunch of bull. This is wrong. You a fraud. And I called her all this kind of name. And then she told me, you gonna leave now. Get out of here. That's what happened.
So their explanation to you was, your kid made it in 5 laps, so we don't need 15. Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. That's not the point. That doesn't matter. That's irrelevant.
It doesn't matter, exactly. I want a race that is a race. 3-4 laps, that's not a race. Might as well. Nobody races 3 laps in the whole wide world. I've been around the world, and I know nobody does have races with 3 laps, 4 laps, or whatever, even in the mud. Just like this weekend, they had a lot of mud in Europe, in Germany. They rode the 85, rode 25-minute races there. 2 races in the mud. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Yeah.
And I mean, the week before, there was a regional at Muddy Creek. We went there too. It was a lot of rain, a lot of mud. Same thing there. We got 3 laps there, the first race. And then when it got muddy, we got 5 laps. Go figure that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I have a question for
Yeah.
you. So
Yeah.
and guys used to do this. They let you can just go to any regional and you can try to qualify as many times as you can get to those races, right?
Correct. I can go, I'm in the southeast. I can go northeast. I can go Midwest. I can go any qualifier, so I can go to these regionals. Yeah, that's
So
up to my discretion, you know.
let's say your boy qualifies out of Muddy Creek and you go to Baja Acres and qualify there. Now you own 2 spots at Loretta's, correct?
Correct. More
Now,
than 2. I had 4. If I can make 4, but you only can raise 2. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but I mean, you can
I could, yeah, I could.
have
Definitely.
4 spots in one class if you hit all the
Right,
regionals, and there's
right,
no
right.
how on that. That's
Yeah,
so how
it
do they
doesn't.
fill those spots? They just give them to the next guy down?
Yeah, then whoever was in, like, when the 6 to 7, number 7 gets the spot, which is perfect. I mean, I have no issues with that. It's just that's another issue. I mean, a lot of people go all over the place, and a lot of people can't. You know, I mean, yeah, but the problem is because of this one race a year, they call it the biggest race. I mean, that's the problem. You have no alternative. What else you want? If you don't do well there, kind of, you know, it's hard to get a little bit of help. You know, every
Yeah.
parent's try to get a little bit of help. This is the only race they really look at. The rest is all even more money making, I think. You
Well,
know,
and the problem with it is there's more races now, like there's futures, there's the combines, but the problem
right.
is if you don't do good at Loretta Lynn's, you'll never get an invite into those, or you got to like beg
Well,
to get
first,
into them.
yeah, that too, unless you know people, you
Yeah.
know, that's another problem. And they have, yeah, combine in at West Coast. Where's the East Coast? I mean, people can't travel out there unless the millionaires. I don't know who can do that. Money wise, time wise, work wise, I couldn't even do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't understand. It's
So
so unfair.
so we've identified a lot of problems. How do we fix them?
In a dialogue talk, they need to talk to the people. I think, I mean, like I didn't even get to like Burkeen in the end. See what happened after what all that happened there in Baja. She got so mad because I called her whatever names, and she called me and told me to go, and I was mad, of course. So Burkeen from the AMA, he called me and he told me I need to suspend you. Then he always keeps telling me, uh, I like your son. Your son is a good rider. He's not. Then I said, yeah, you can punish me. I know I was a little bit rough on the edge there. Like they did. I mean, I know numerous people, their parents did something, so they punished them, not the rider or not their son. So that's what I told Burkeen. Yeah, he punished me or something. Ah, that wouldn't work. They demanded that I have to suspend Kai as well, my son, so he can't participate at Loretta's. So that's, and what he did, I mean, I don't know. I know he has, but I know he had kids too, but kids. But I think, I don't know. Everybody I talked to in the whole wide world, when I tell them what they did, they just look at me and shake their head. But what he did, Burkeen did that. So he
Suspension? Yeah. What
the
can
suspension
I ask what you said?
to who?
To what word specifically got you suspended?
Well, not well. I called her a fraud and then a bitch. You
Yeah,
know,
that's probably not good, but I get it. I
I
see where you're coming
mean,
from.
I was just I called her, and I called her a Democrat. She's just she's just acting like I called her Gretchen, like her freaking governor up there who is you know, I called her just Burkeen didn't like that either.
It
But
doesn't matter.
that's
Like, I think that's
right,
actually funny, but like
right.
the only one there that to me that's offensive and worthy of any sort of discipline would be maybe don't call her a bitch. So
Yeah, I know. But I mean I was just
I
I mean my
understand. You just spent so much money, and then literally,
right.
I understand the way they treated you is totally unfair. I do think you should get a little bit of leeway because of that. But at the same time, I also see, I hate to say, I see their point. They can't have parents and people berating them, but had they actually listened to you in the beginning, it wouldn't have got to that point.
No, exactly. If we had a dialogue and we all would talk and we said maybe come to somewhere in between and say okay, and then really maybe the AMA or who those AMA people would say, we tell me you people can't do this anymore. You can't have so many classes. It doesn't work. I mean, it will not work. You can't have 20 classes or more in these regionals. It won't work. You can't get through. Or you need to change the whole, only qualify the first 5 again. So you have a 40, then you have more races, but you can't have consi races and semis, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does call into the credibility of the race if you're going to have 5-lap qualifiers for a race. It just doesn't, you know, you could have somebody that has a different skill set that might not qualify. No, I get it. You got some valid points.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you wanted to get off your chest about that?
Yeah, it's about it. I mean, it's a lot more. I could tell you a lot. We maybe need to, you guys. I mean, the industry doesn't want to talk about this. I mean,
I do.
Yeah, you're the only one. I'm telling you, you're the only one. But nobody wants to talk about how screwed and effed up this amateur racing is.
Well, the reason I talk about it is not to just complain about it. I want to see it fixed. I think I get so pissed off when these people say the sport is what it is and they'll just leave it at that. I'm like, no, if we fixed it, it can grow. It has the potential. But when you're spending the kind of money that you spend to train your kid, to take him to these events, you should be treated with just a little bit of respect. And if you want 15-minute motos, at least have a logical explanation. And I totally understand it. That's disrespectful to show up, pay that kind of money, you know, and pay the camping, the daily ins and outs, and then find out you're not even getting a full moto. I would think that you get okay, if this were any other industry and this happened, if you diminish the product by shortening it, you get a discount. Do you get some money back if they do 5 laps? No.
Yeah. No, that's what the thing is. What I argue with them. The only time I get money back was when COVID hit. We were at Freestone in Texas. You've been there, I think, too, right? There's also Amateur National down there. Mm-hmm. Then COVID hit, and they would reimburse us the fees. That's the only place. And I'm, like I said, I do this since my son is 5 years old. So, and he's 14 now. So almost 10 years. That was the only.
Oh, Wi-Fi dropped there. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. You hear me?
Yeah. So we're talking about Freestone and then...
Yeah, so that's, yeah. That was the only place to reimburse us the money. And everybody was really pleased and almost couldn't believe it, you know, because they always say we can't control Mother Nature, we can't do but you have never, they have no alternative dates. If, for example, if baseball, if soccer, if they have a big event, if something happened, they have an alternative date, or ski races or whatever. If they can't have it on that weekend, they have an alternative date. We hear nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And like I said, there's a lot wrong with it, but it is very hard. Have you ever been ran a track or been around? It's not an easy, and you get a lot of crazy parents with crazy stuff, but yours sounds pretty reasonable to me.
No, I know that. My friend, or now a club, I see it daily up at club. I mean, my son is there almost a year now at club. Great. I mean, everything they help on. I mean, it's a good experience, especially with the pros around. They learn a lot, the kids, and to look up, and they makes them drive, you know. But the money you pay for that, and then you get shafted like this, nah, it's just not right. It's just not right. And because the other guy, like Burkeen, has the kind of power, you know, I mean, he's an elected official. He's not, I don't know.
No. He's an employee. So AMA Pro Racing
Is he an
is
employee? Okay, yeah. Then,
AMA Pro Racing is owned by Daytona Motorsports Group, which leases the rights to the series. They're all connected. They're all connected.
yeah,
Essentially,
yeah,
they're all MX Sports employees wearing different shirts, and that's
right.
why they're able
Right.
to do what they're able to do and get away.
Right.
Because if there were actual independent AMA board, they'd be like, dude, no, you can't do that. But he's part of the promoter group, but he's pretending to be an official.
I didn't know that. See.
Yes.
I thought that's why I get to AMA when I explain that to people at work now, and they look at me, yeah, but AMA is the one that basically should police the rule book. And I said, yeah, but they don't.
Well,
and
up
that's
until
why I don't understand.
So the AMA was sold some time ago.
Yeah.
AMA Pro Racing was sold. Daytona Motorsports Group bought it. So now they promote the events and police their own events with officials in different shirts. If you check the emails on a lot of the AMA officials, a lot of times they'll have MX Sports emails. Seriously, true story.
No, I believe that now it makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah,
and now I can actually. Basically it's just a different shirt, but they work for the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And then MX Sports and Racer X is the same company also. Racer X Media Outlet.
I know that.
Yeah, Racer X Media, AMA Pro Racing, that's all the same company. That's all the Coombs. So, and I got into that argument with Davey. He's like, there's an office in Daytona. I said, come on, Davey, really?
No, it's not.
Well, there's an office there, but it's one little office. But why do his employees have MX Sports emails? It doesn't make sense. It's ridiculous. But that's why Davey won't talk to me, and he hates me because I called it out. So I'm like, I'm not going to just accept a dumb answer. I'm not going to just bow down to his lies. So. Okay, well, awesome. Well, I will what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a little intro for about 5 or 10 minutes, kind of summarizing this, and then I'll put up the Zoom call if somebody wants to hear it right from you. How's that?
That's great. I like it. Cool, man.
Okay.
I like it.
Awesome. We'll stay in touch, and yeah, if you need anything, let me know.
Definitely. Definitely. See, now my son wants to do more supercross. I really don't want to do this amateur, but I can't. See, what I really want to, I just screw this shit. I mean, I can't, I have to be, especially if I see Burkeen, I have to really walk way around him. Otherwise, I do stupid shit, you know what I'm saying? Because of what he did. So I have to be careful. But I told my son, now we just try to be civil and but he wants to do supercross more, but that's another problem there for amateur. There's nothing. And then how do you want to do these features if you can't train? I mean, yeah, he can train now because of the club, but if he's not with club, a regular dude, he can't. This is another. I don't know how do you think that's going to work, So it's basically just for, I guess, the insider people. I don't know.
It's interesting, but we'll try and, like I said, the first step is awareness. So I appreciate you taking some time and explaining the whole situation. And like I say, I'll put it out there and see what we can do.